to do a parallel series 2 voltage source problem. We have 6 volts going to it and 10 volts going to it, and we're trying to find the voltage of each resistor. The way you solve these ones is treat it as if there's just one voltage source and you solve for the currents for each resistor. So we'll start off by solving for the 6 volts voltage source. I'm going to move kind of fast because you should know how to do parallel and series already. So we have to find our resistance total, which you can just find that as 5 plus 1 over, then parentheses, 1 over 3 plus 1 over 4 parentheses, and this equals 6.71 ohms for total resistance. Then we take our voltage over our total resistance, and this gives us 0.89 amps. So now the total current will be going through resistor 1, so we can just times 5 times 0.89 to get 4.47 volts. Then we subtract the 4.47 volts from 6, and that gives us 1.53 volts for the voltage of resistor 3 and voltage of resistor 2 because they're in parallel. So now we use V equals IR again, and we just rearrange it so it's voltage over resistance, and we're solving for resistor 3 and resistor 2. So we do 1.53 over 4 and 1.53 over 3, and that gives us 0.38 amps for resistor 3 and 0.51 amps for resistor 2. Now to check our work, we can just add the 0.38 and the 0.51, and this gives us 0.89 amps, which is the total current. When solving one of these problems, you have to decide which way the current flows. It doesn't matter which way you make it flow, if it's positive, negative, or negative, positive. In this case, I did positive to negative. Now it's basically the same process except for you use the 10 voltage source and you ignore the 6 voltage source. So I gave you guys the currents for all the resistors already, and once again I made the currents go positive to negative. So now you compare the 6 volt problem to the 10 volt problem, and if the currents are going in the opposite direction you subtract them, and if the currents are going in the same direction you add them. So now to find the voltage of resistor 1, for example, you just take the 5 ohms resistance times the difference of the currents because they're going in opposite directions, and this gives us 1.25 volts. Then using the same process and adding or subtracting depending on which direction the currents are going, I got for voltage resistor 2 4.71 volts and the voltage of resistor 3 5.28 volts.